Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1 o'clock-ish. It's about 1 o'clock. We're going to be going over Command 101 now. In Command 101 today, we're going to be talking about opportunities. Um, Opportunities. If you haven't worked in Command at all, you're going to find that you need this one. You're going to need this one to be able to get paid. And we're going to try to walk you through the kind of the front to the back of this and get you so that you can get the offers in, get the commissions in, get the documentation in. We're going to be kind of teasing a little bit about DocuSign only because we're going to be using that as our tool to sign documents in Command. But we're not going to be focusing on that particular area. We're going to be focusing on the opportunity itself and all of the things that are inside of it. So there's a lot in here. And if you are a transaction coordinator or if you're doing any kind of maintenance on an opportunity for an agent or as an agent, I'm going to give you some advice and some tips here that will make your life a little bit easier. I really don't like to see when people kind of flounder and get mired down in the details so much so that they're wasting time. So I'm going to give you the pointers and the tips that are going to make it so that you, yes, you can get through opportunities quickly, safely, unscathed, and paid. So let's take a look, shall we? All right. So here we are. We are on the application. Well, we're on Command, the home dashboard. We're right inside the main page here. And what we're looking at right now is all the good stuff on the dashboard. But what we're really interested in is making sure that we can transact quickly. So one of the things that I see a lot of people do is they come over here on the left-hand side and they think, well, I need to make an opportunity. So let me go to opportunities. Don't do it. The opportunities applet, this little guy down here, is not for single opportunity management. Simply put, this is a place where you can manage all of your opportunities and kind of get a big bird's eye picture of your business as opposed to working on a single transaction. When we talk about focused work and we talk about zeroing in on what you need to do to get done so that you can move on to the next thing, that opportunities panel is not your friend because it's going to divert your attention from what you really are trying to accomplish, which is work on a specific opportunity. All right. Having said that, when you are working on a specific opportunity or you're about to create a specific opportunity, you always start at the contact. Simply put. So we're going to go to our contact. And on our contacts page here, we are going to see all of our contacts in our database. In my case, I've got 989. And what we're looking for here is we're looking for the contact who is going to be signer number one. Ladies and gentlemen, come on down. Signer number one. Think about this. Anytime you're creating an opportunity, you might be tempted to create the opportunity based on an address. So you put your contact in as an address. Addresses don't sign things. I don't know the last time I saw a building whip out a pen and put its name, its address on a signature, on a document. Things don't sign things. So we're not looking for the thing. We're not looking for the address. We're looking for the person who's going to sign the contract because that's how Command knows who is going to sign the contract. So we always create each contact as an individual person. We do not create the contacts as husband and wife, teams, partners, businesses, addresses, none of that, okay? Because all of the information that we create in the very beginning process is going to be used in the documentation process. So don't do it. Now, to create the person, we want to think of if there's going to be only one person signing the documents, signing the contract, then that is the signer number one. Signer one. If there's going to be multiple people signing the documents, it's signer one and signer two. When it gets down to Command and creating these people, these contacts in Command, we create the primary person and we don't have to do any designations there. But what we can do is we can create a relationship between the first person, husband or wife, And the second person, husband or wife or business partner or friend or whatever it is, daughter, mother, child, son, whatever. So what we're looking for is the primary person, because that is going to take spot number 1 on the contracts. So when we create a person, we are always going to click on the create contact or the add contact button, and we're going to put one person's name here. Robert Vincent, Tom Gonzalez. It doesn't matter. One person. If we are going to have someone do a co-signer or a co-buyer, co-seller, co-buyer, whatever it is, we can add that related person here by clicking add relationship. And when we click the add relationship, we'll be given the opportunity to select another person in the database, or we can add someone to the database simultaneously. Be advised that we are working in the add contacts dialog. And so when we add our first person, we'll say Mary Smith. When we click on the add relationship and we go to add the second person, let's say it's going to be John Smith, you'll notice that we do not have the option to create any additional information for John Smith right now. So if we added John Smith here, we're adding John Smith to the database. So we're creating a new record for John Smith, but it's empty. It doesn't have a phone number. It doesn't have an email. So we will have to go back after we create this contact, after we've related this second contact to here, go back into John Smith and finish out the details there, especially if John Smith is going to be a co-buyer or co-seller, because we need the email. We need that in his record because that's the information that's going to get transferred to DocuSign. Okay, for now, we're not going to create anybody. We're just going to go in here and assume that we have already done the creation of a contact. So that contact in my case here is going to be my standby demo contact person. And so we have our person in our database. So I'm going to go ahead and find Jackie Studo here, and I'm going to click on her name, and I'm going to open up this record for this person. Now, in this person's record, we do have a phone number and we have an email. So we have ways to get in touch with this person. And what we need that for is because when we're in DocuSign, it's going to use that email to reach out to them, to send the documents to them. If I slide down to the bottom here, you'll see that there is a relationship to another person here, John Morgan. So there's already been another relationship created. So if I click on John Morgan, it will take me to John Morgan's record, just another contact in the database. And John Morgan's information, if I can get it to freshen up here, John Morgan's information is as complete as Jackie's. We have an email and we have a phone number. And if we look further down, we have addresses and we got birthdays and all that stuff too. So we got everything we need there, okay? What's important to know about this is that when we talk about the two people in this case that are going to sign this document, the first person we choose, whether it be John or Jackie, whoever we choose to begin the opportunity creation process, that person becomes signer 1. The secondary person becomes signer 2. In the case of a listing, it's seller 1 and co-seller 1 or co-seller. In the case of a buying opportunity, it's buyer 1 and buyer 2. All right. So whatever you're doing, whatever you want to have happen on the documentation process, think about that as you begin this process, as you begin to create the opportunity and kind of build it and design it. Okay. All right. So we're going to go back to Jackie. We're going to go back to Jackie Astudo because we're going to create this opportunity from her record, making her seller 1 and John will be seller 2. So to create the opportunity from the contract record, we're going to go over on we're still in the contract record. We're going to go to the opportunity section here on the right-hand side. In the opportunity section, you'll see a history of all the opportunities that you've created for this contact. In this case, I've used this contact a lot for demonstration purposes, and you can see that there are a lot of opportunities that have been created. If you haven't got it in here, you won't see any number next to the opportunities. It'll just be a blank area, like next to timeline. There's nothing there. But in this case, I've got 19 of them. To create a new opportunity, click on the Create Opportunity button on the right-hand side of the timeline, and the dialog box pops up for creating an opportunity. Now, because in the last class we did for DocuSign, we didn't go over every single element in here, I'm going to do that now for you. In the Create Opportunity dialog box, the first thing you see is the Market Center. This is only going to matter for you if you are an agent and you belong to multiple market centers. If you don't know what I mean by that, then don't worry about it, because the only market center that you're going to see here is going to be your primary market center. If you are on a team, the team will automatically be chosen here. In my case, I do have a team called MCTT463 team. We're not going to build this under the team right now, though. We are just going to build it as an individual. If you're on a team, it will automatically load the name of the team, though. In the opportunity type, you will be required to pick that. So in the opportunity type dropdown, we're picking the type of opportunity that we're going to create. And we have 4 to choose from: a listing opportunity, a buyer opportunity, a landlord opportunity, and a tenant opportunity. Now, whichever one of those you use, if you complete the dialog box here and you click Create, you cannot go back and change the kind of opportunity. The opportunity type will be burned into the opportunity and you cannot change it. In which case, you can just basically throw away the opportunity and create another one, because you can't change it here. So always select this carefully. I'll choose listing. The owner of the opportunity, again, is going to be you unless you are a member of a team, and the team Rainmaker will be listed here as the owner of the opportunity. This does not mean that you're giving away anything. What you're doing is specifying who is the responsible party. So in your case, if you're a solo agent, you'll see your name. Because we created the client, because we created the opportunity from the client or the contacts page, our client is already loaded. This is very important because everything down below and everything from this point forward is going to be based on the client that we've selected. So remember, client equates to, in this case, because it's a listing opportunity, seller 1, the role of seller 1, which is going to matter in DocuSign. If we wanted to add John Morgan as a co-seller to this, we can. We can actually type in John Morgan's name here, and it will show us John Morgan. And I'm going to go ahead and do this because I want you to see what happens when we go through the process of having a client and a co-seller. So I'll select John Morgan. He's being brought into the transaction now as a signer for the document process and for the opportunity as a whole. The next dialog box up here is opportunity name. In the opportunity name, it will already have loaded in Jackie Astuto's name and the type of opportunity based on what you've done up here. So we have 2 parts out of 3 with regards to what we need for the naming convention of our opportunity. Our naming convention is always the same: who, what, and where. Who, what, and where. So the where is going to be the address or the property of the transaction. So I'm putting in 123 Main Street, Epping, New Hampshire here. Now, remember, when you're creating an opportunity from scratch, you may not have the listing address right away, but you're going to need it later on. So always be aware that this is going to be required. You need to have this information in the listings, in the opportunity names, okay? If it's a buying opportunity, you're not going to have it right away. So in that case, just leave it blank until you have the property, and then come back to the opportunity name and change the opportunity name to reflect the property that is going to be purchased. Now, we do have custom tags that we can use here, which are opportunity tags, and this is valuable if you're running a large enterprise where you have a lot of transactions going on and you want to organize your opportunities by tags on the opportunities dashboard. Okay, This is not something you need to worry about if it's a small business where you're just doing a few transactions a year. You can absolutely use them, but it's going to have limited value. This is for operations where you're doing a lot of transactions and you need to organize them to keep organized. You have an estimated close date. Now, the word estimated throws people off all the time. Even though I say this during classes, I always get the question, yeah, but what if I don't know? Estimated? So when you put this in here, this is information that will transfer to DocuSign as an estimated close date, which is great because now you have something that you're going to need later. And when you do solidify the closing date, when you finally get down to the actual date for the closing, you will be able to put that in there. And then the estimated closing date becomes much more real, and you'll be able to use it inside the transaction for your commissions as well. Okay, so again, estimated, you can use it. Please put it in there, even if it's estimated. So that'll help you out. Next up is the listing price. Again, we talked in the very beginning about how the opportunities dashboard is great for managing multiple opportunities. Well, when you talk about multiple opportunities, you're going to want to know about how much potential money, income, GCI is coming down the pike for all of the opportunities that you've created and all of the opportunities that you're currently monitoring. If you don't put a value in here and you look at the opportunities dashboard, if this is a 0 in any of your opportunities, then the dashboard becomes kind of meaningless when we talk about potential income and probable income. So if you make a habit of putting in the estimated listing price, and again, I get agents say to me all the time, but what if I don't have a listing price yet? It's estimated, and you can always change it later. As you get closer to the reality of this transaction happening, you can modify most of these values. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put an estimated close date in here so that you can see it. I'll put a close date of, we'll put a close date of March 4th, just nice and easy there. Estimated list price, I'll put it into $400,000. Piece of cake. Now, there's two more sections, one more required field. The commission rate is required. So we're going to go ahead and, it's time to start bumping up that commission rate a little bit. 4%. This is your side of the deal. Period. This is your side of the deal. So when the question comes in, what if it's a split? Do I put 2? Well, the question is, what are we going to write the check for? If KW is writing a check for 4%, put 4% in there. If KW was writing a check for 2%, put 2 in there. Now, the next one down below in the opportunity phase and opportunity stage, this is what you see right here is what we call the entry level to the opportunity pipeline. Cultivate and watch. If you think about the two words, cultivate is something like, you put, it's a plant in the ground and you're just putting the seed in there and it hasn't really matured, it hasn't broken through, and it's not really a plant yet. It's just a seed and you're watching it and you're watching it and you're watching it. The opportunity pipeline is a sales pipeline, and sales pipelines begin from the, hey, I got a bug that this might be something to pursue, to follow up. It doesn't mean that you're at the point of doing documentation. It just means that hey, I'm thinking about it. Now, most agents, when they get to this dialogue here, quite frankly, they're way past the opportunity and watch stage because many of you are not using Command to nurture potential opportunities. If you are, kudos, because that means you're using smart plans, neighborhood nurture plans, you're using campaigns and marketing, and you're following up on potential transactions that have not been gotten far enough to put in here as an opportunity yet. That's awesome. But what I find more often than not is people come in here in panic mode. Oh my God, I've got to get this paperwork out to a person. Well, that is most decidedly not seed in the ground, getting ready for thinking about it maybe in a month. This is actions being taken. So if you're getting paperwork ready, or if the paperwork is late, you're in appointment or active, you're already over here. You do not need to worry about this right now as far as which one you choose, because I'll be honest with you, you don't even have access in these two drop downs or drop ups in this case. You don't even have access to all of the phases and stages because the opportunity dialog box was kind of geared to be the early stages. After we create the opportunity, we can make modifications to the phase and to the stage as needed. Okay. So for right now, I am going to go ahead and drop those into Cultivate and Watch, which most of the time, even people that are doing closing deals in a week, they leave it in there because they don't know the value or the usage of an opportunity pipeline, a sales pipeline. So this, there, by the way, I have a very extensive video on understanding the pipeline and how to manage it. And that's something where if I can get to it, I'll show you the YouTube link for that. Okay. All right. So that's the opportunity dialog box. Now that we've done that and we've got the opportunity to our liking, remember this. No matter what happens here, we can modify most of what we can't. Quick little pop quiz for you guys here. What is the one thing? And for those of you that are watching on Facebook or that are on YouTube, you can comment there as well. And for those of you that are in the Zoom room with me, what is the one thing that when you click create here, you cannot change? There are three things, but I will go ahead and start. I'll just do with one. Anyone got anything on that? What is the one absolute that you cannot change after you click create? I need a Jeopardy theme here. Ding, 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 ding. Do you know who wrote the Jeopardy theme? If you know that, put that in the comments. Rebecca nailed it. It is, in fact, the opportunity type. Angela, you are correct in the sense that the owner doesn't change. However, the thing about that is that can't change even before the opportunity because you guys are on a team, Angela, and that team decided the Rainmaker name. So that name can't change at all because there's only one Rainmaker on that team. But you're right. So and I mentioned there's actually one more thing that really can't change. Although technically you could change it, but it would be completely messed up. I'll give you another second on that. And anybody, did I say already who wrote the Jeopardy theme song? All right. Do you guys know who wrote the Jeopardy theme song?
Nope.
Merv Griffin. Good old Merv. Which you're probably going, who? Merv Griffin, the Merv Griffin show. He created more TV shows in the 40s and 50s and 60s, I guess, than anybody else. So yeah, Merv Griffin wrote that, and it was a lullaby that he used to sing to his daughter or child, I don't know who, and he turned it into the Jeopardy theme song, the most popular song on probably the planet. Okay, so now that we have all this good to go, we're going to go ahead and click on Create. When we click Create, we now see our brand new opportunity on our timeline here. And we actually see a couple of them because what we see is, in this case, the date, February 15th. I did one earlier this morning. So we have two. So we have the one that I just put in now actually has the 4%. Did I not put the money in? I think I forgot to put the money in there. I might have forgotten to put the value in there. Estimated listing price. So I clicked on the opportunity. I went a little quick there, but I clicked on the opportunity now, and we're now inside of the opportunity, and we're on the details tab. The details tab is right here, and that's what's highlighted. And let's talk about those tabs. We have the details. We have a seller profile, which we'll go to last. The documents area, which is where you're going to spend most of your time. The offers and commissions tab, which is where you're going to go to get paid. The notes area, which is an underutilized tool for those of you on a team, Angela. The notes area is fantastic because you can come in here and you can add notes and you can just kind of follow up on things instead of having to worry about where are the notes for the opportunity for so-and-so. It's a great tool and it's very underutilized as well. And then finally, the timeline, which is a fantastic tool if you are a team. Well, it doesn't really matter if you're a team or not, but I'll give the team as the example. It's a great tool for any of the teams out there where you've got assignees and you've got rainmakers and you've got admins. You can see who's doing what and it will tell you exactly who was involved. And going on the left-hand side here, all the team member names that have access to the opportunity will be listed. So it's a really cool thing to know, like, did I send out that checklist? Did I do this here? Did I do that? This is a great way for you to kind of just make sure that you know exactly where you are at in any of these opportunities. So now let's come back up a little higher than the tabs across the top here. Let's go across here and let's talk about what we see on the top. Now, normally, most people don't even spend a lot of time up here. They don't even look up here. They're mostly focused on two areas, the Details tab and the Documents tab. That's all they care about. I don't care about anything else. But if you're managing your business and you want to get the most out of the software, number one, and number two, if you want to keep yourself organized, there are some very powerful tools up here. So number one is we now know that we have the name of the opportunity, which will be the name of the DocuSign or .loop, doesn't matter which one you use. It will be the name of the loop or the name of the room. Remember, who, what, where. Who, what, where. That's always the name of the opportunity. Below the name of the opportunity, we see, in this case, we have two people. We have Jackie Astuto. She is seller one, and there's Jackie's contact information and direct access back to her contact record. We also have John Morgan. Now, the reason I bring this, the reason I bring this to your attention is because when we have a co-seller in this case, we want to make sure that the co-seller email is in there, preferably as much information as possible. But at a minimum, we need that email because DocuSign.loop are going to use this information to send out the loops or to send out the envelopes. So when you look at this, if this is missing any information for seller two, you can again go back to the contact area and add that information. Everything that we're doing here, all these little minutia things, are designed to make the document signing process smooth. This isn't just for me talking about filling out the boxes. This is for you doing it once and never having to worry about it again. All right, so now that we have all of that squared away, we have this little box to the right of that says Select from Listings. Now, it's so important to understand that you need to add the listing when it's a listing opportunity to the transaction. But the question is the listing in the MLS yet? Or is it something where it's not in the MLS? So therefore, it's not something I can select from that Select from Listings. Because when you click this, you're going to be shown the MLS dialog. Now, me not being an agent, I don't have the only listings. I don't see any of my listings because there are none. So I can come up here to where it says only listings and choose all listings. And now I'm looking at 10,000 plus listings. Then when I want to search for one, I can search for it here. I can search for it by street address or an MLS number. Remember, it has to be in the MLS for it to be found here. So when I search for an address, and that's what I'm doing in this case, when I do that, this is the MLS for that address, and this particular property has been sold multiple times, or at least it looks like there's different addresses or something in here. So keep in mind that we will need this value later on. If it exists now, grab it because you're going to need it. If it does not, if you are not finding it in the listings because it's not there, then you can come down to the property area and you can add the property in lieu of the MLS. To add the property, you can click the little pencil icon and you can search for your property, 123 Main Street, just like you could do in the other one. This is essentially Google's Maps engine. So when you select the property here, you can go ahead and add that property to this transaction. I'm going to add the property here because I want to show you something. Number one, it adds the property. And number two, it actually puts the property in where the listing is going to go. But when you click on the listing dialog box, that's not a listing. You can see that the little picture is X'd out and it just has an address. It doesn't have any of the MLS data because we didn't get it. So what we'll need to do is, remember I said in the beginning of this part, you will need to have the listing to get paid. So you're going to have to come back here later on and change it. Now, you can do it here when you get the MLS information, or you can do it on the offers and commissions tab. I clicked too fast there. You can do it on the offers and commissions tab when you're submitting for your commission. You have the option one more time to select from the listing. So they moved it to two places, early in the process and late in the process. In either case, you're going to need to put it in there. Okay, so now we're still in the details tab, and we've gone through the top part here. Up in the top right, now this is more of an advanced tool, and I want to be careful because I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here because we're going to try and get all the way to closing this transaction. But I want you to understand that for your business that's growing, you're going to want to start streamlining your process, and you can do so by adding and using checklists for specific action items that need to be done throughout the life of the transaction. Now, that could be all the way from the cultivate, putting a seed in the ground, all the way through post-closing and having some check-off points that you need to make sure you do after a closing is complete. Now, this checklist is something that you can design to customize the way that you work based on the things that you need to get done. Now, in the beginning, sometimes it can be a little bit tough because you're like, well, what do I need to do? You don't know what you don't know. So in that case, what you can do is reach out to one of us here, and we can talk to you about some of the things that, just the generic things that you're going to need to do, but you're going to have a conversation about what your business looks like and how you run it so that you can put the checklist together that matters to you, because there's nothing worse than having a checklist that doesn't mean anything to you. And then you never use it because you're like, yeah, but I don't do that. So why should I have it in there? So we can work with you on helping you build your checklist. The other thing is that not only things that you need to do can be added to the checklist, but client updates. So you could have points in the checklist that are labeled so that you can hit the button, say this has been done, and it will fire off an email to your client saying this has been done. And it's a really nice email that's put together in the system. And it only works if, you guessed it, there's an email address in your contact. So client updates only work when you have emails for everybody in your database. Okay. Now that we've talked about the top section here, we're going to talk about the details, and then we're going to go into the documents area. So in the details area, again, it is so critical to fill all of this out, because before you even create your document process, your room or your loop, if this is not filled out and you create those objects, you're not going to see it all. So before I even get into this, I'm going to bring up from the KW Answers site, I'm going to bring up an article, and it's just simply by the way, the KW Answers site is answers.kw. Little pro tip for you. This is what I use when I get questions that I don't know the answers to. This is the first stop for me when I get a question from any agent and they say, this is doing this, how do I do that? I'll go here and I will Google it for them, and I will find out the answer and I'll get back. This is where you can go to type in anything. So I know that I want to sync with DocuSign. And those two words are going to give me a particular article. Learning to use search is such a powerful tool in our world. Learn how to use searches, because sometimes we type in full sentences and sentences don't work. So we're going to use sync DocuSign. When I click on this little article, and I'm going to bring this article into the chat for those of you who are in the Zoom room, I'm going to put that in there. And for those of you who are in the, no, I don't want that. We'll see if I can do that. Yep, there we go. That was those of you on Facebook. There is the article there. And there you have it. So what this is it's an article about what information syncs with DocuSign and Dotloop, and where you can find that information. So when you look at this article, very simply, we're going to look at this middle section. The information from your Keller Williams White Pages profile. We talk about it when we first set up your systems. Your name, your email address, your phone number, your center, your market center, and your market center address. That information is synchronized with DocuSign and Dotloop. If your information is missing, it's not going to DocuSign. From the opportunity itself, once you have attached a listing, and I kept on harping on that. Once that listing is attached, the listing address, the year built, the listing date, the listing price, the lot size, the bed and baths, the listing expiration date, and the MLS. This is what I was talking about. This information automatically transfers over to the document process. When that happens, you don't have to worry about it being right or wrong or not up to date. It's guaranteed because it's pulling the information from the MLS. So that's where that information comes from. And then finally, when you are working on an offer, now I'm going to be totally honest with you. Most people do not use the offer system inside of Command. They're past the point of offers by the time that they're ready to do commissions. So in that case, you don't need to worry about it too much, but the offer details go in, and they are the seller 1, seller 2, buyer 1, buyer 2, expected close date, actual closing date, and closing price. So this information is going to be for the offer details that gets pushed in to Command, to DocuSign and .loop as well. So there's more information on that article that you need to know. So take a look at that. Now, what that means is the more information we have on this front page that matches up with that, the better our data that we're going to sync is. So we're going to go ahead, and on this page here, we're going to see that I didn't have a team for this one, didn't use any custom tags. Sound familiar? All the things that we talked about. We don't have a time frame here, but I can edit it if I want. And if you recall, some of the details that we're seeing here were not even options when we created the opportunity dialog box, which is why it's so important to understand that once the opportunity is created, it doesn't mean that all of the information has already been added. To change the information, to update the information inside the opportunity details, if you use this pencil icon to the opportunity detail, I'll do that again so I can slow it down. The general information area here, right to the left of the word property, there's a pencil icon. This is the edit general information pencil. When you click that, you can adjust the tags. You can change the name to add the listing address now that you have it. The deal owner, which to Angela's point, cannot change at this point. Contact name, co-seller, opportunity, phase, and stage. Oh, maybe it is a little further. And look, we have more options here. So maybe this thing is under active and negotiations. Maybe it's all the way there. And this matters for your potential and your probable GCI income on the opportunities dashboard. If you are not keeping this up to date, it's not even worth using. Time frame. Remember, we saw that was empty a few moments ago. So the time frame, we say within 3 months. Estimated closing date. We have the appointment schedule and the appointment date. To be clear, the appointment scheduled means that you on Tuesday scheduled an appointment. So on Tuesday, we'll say Tuesday today is the 15th. Tuesday the 15th, you scheduled an appointment, but the appointment date is for this weekend, and that is going to be the 18th. Okay, so this means when did you schedule the appointment and when is the appointment? Agreement 1. Hopefully this is going to be on the 18th, because what this means is when you walked away from the appointment, did you win the agreement? So if not, maybe it's the next day they call you back and say, yes, we've decided to go with you. So you choose the date that the agreement was won. Now, the contract date is the date that in this case, it's a listing opportunity. And remember, it's a different terminology for each type of opportunity. But the contract date is the date that the property went under contract. This is going to be required later on anyway, because that is part of the closing process as well. So if the contract date, this is the date that the property went under agreement with in the listing case, a buyer, that's totally different from the date that the seller became your client. So these are two different things. Contract date, we'll say that the house is only on the market for a week. The contract date was the 25th. The closing date was, let's say that's going to be another month away from there, March 25th. All of that information, once it's added, it can be changed, can be modified, but it's something that if you're using it, it will help you understand better how your business is doing. Estimated listing price, it went up from 400. We ended up selling it 450. Great. Doesn't mean that number is going to be the actual closing price, but it's something we can change. Commission rate, still 4%. We're good to go. So now we have way more information over here in the details area, including all the dates. Does it matter? It's up to you. And I tell you each of these dialogues and what they are and what they mean so that you can decide how much information is important to you to help you run your business. Some people, quite frankly, they don't fill any of this stuff out. So, okay, so stupid question, that's exactly the question I want to hear. What does the appointment date, what do you mean by appointment date? Appointment for what? Fantastic question. There's nothing stupid about that. That's great. So when we are talking with a client, a potential client, an opportunity, someone who we have not become engaged in business with, we're going to hopefully get to a point in the conversation where Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I would love if we could get together, and I would be happy to list your home for you. And I want to show you all of the reasons why. And I want to give you my listing presentation and why I think that I would be the best agent to sell your home. Would Friday the 18th be good for you? Great. That's going to be our appointment date. We are now talking, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's Wednesday, Tuesday. It's actually Tuesday the 15th. Tuesday. Would Friday be good for you? Excellent. So today I scheduled the appointment. That's when I scheduled it. Friday is the date of the actual appointment. Now, why do we need this? We don't. Okay. But data is a really interesting thing. When you start to look at the wins and the losses throughout the year, we have reporting tools. And those reporting tools, as a matter of fact, I think this might actually make more sense for the why these things even exist in Command. I just jumped over to the reporting section in Command. And what is in here is your database, your contacts, your leads. It's all about how the health of your database, how you're doing on contact and information. And it also has a percentage of people that you've reached out to, all these awesome things. And when you get deeper into the reports, when you actually start to get into the report section, the appointments are tracked to see how many appointments you scheduled. And the only way we know is by saying appointment scheduled, appointment dates. So all of these things that are in here for your opportunities, for your goals, and for your database, all of these things, you can look at them by year to date or month to date. If you're a numbers nerd like I am, when I look at these things, I look for trends. Was I slow in the summer? Was I super busy in the winter? Where are the times when I had the most appointments? Where are where were my efforts giving me payoff? I did a bunch of marketing in the spring and all of my appointments were 3-4 weeks later. I wonder if marketing had anything to do with how those appointments started stacking up. Do you go down that rabbit hole? Maybe, maybe not. Don't take this conversation here today as being you have to do it for some pie in the sky thing. Everything that's in here is going to be coming back to you in terms of knowledge and reports and data. If it's not something that you're following, you might get a little bit tired of putting it in here, or maybe even just go, you know what, I don't even need this. Totally fine. But know that we have built the system so that you can actually do some really cool stuff, understanding your business and looking for places where you can grow it. So that was the most long-winded, crazy answer. And Natasha, I noticed that you already said, got it, thank you, like 5 minutes ago. So I appreciate that. Okay. So the last bit of this information is, of course, the commission rate and the estimated list price. So we're done there. So now that we've gone through like ad nauseum, the details page here, I would like you to remember at the end of the day, the critical information is going to be the who's and the what's and the where's. So those pieces of information are going to be critical to getting the rest of this process smooth. So now that that's done, we're going to go over to the Documents tab. Now on the Documents tab, this is where we begin our transaction. This is where we create our DocuSign room or our .loop. We do not go to DocuSign and we do not go to .loop. We go here to create either one of those elements. On this page, on the documents page, we are given the opportunity to pick a checklist. The checklist is quite literally a list of all of the documents that you're going to need, whether they be required or conditional, for the type of transaction that you've created. In my case, it is a listing and it is in New Hampshire. So the checklist of documents that I'm going to need is the New Hampshire listing checklist. We have a Maine, a Massachusetts, a commercial, a new construction, and a Vermont. So we have checklists for each of you for your different areas of business and your different, in this case, types of business as well. So I'm going to choose a New Hampshire listing checklist. Nice and easy. So when we're in here, we're going to manage this checklist simply by understanding that there are three main stages of the checklist. There is the listing stage, the under contract stage, and the closed stage. Now, each of these stages of the opportunity, the lifeline of the lifespan of this thing, each of these stages has different types of documents required, or conditional, or optional. So for each stage, when we look at the list of potential documents, we will see in the requirement column three options. We're going to either see required, we're going to see conditional, or we're going to see optional. So if you are looking at this and you're saying to yourself, but when do I know? How do I know? The answer is actually in the document requirement state. So required documents, some of them don't need an explanation. You're going to need the deed. Okay, I get it. You're going to need the brokerage relationship disclosure form. If you need to ask why on that one, please attend the Ask the Broker sessions on Monday and Friday at 1 p.m. For some of these other ones, though, they can be a little bit like, well, I'm not sure. So there's a little I next to the required statement or conditional or optional. It says here, note, we are a designated agency firm / office. So this document is required because it says that we are exclusive listing agreement designated agency. So it's a legal document and it's required. This tells you why. As you slide down through with the different options, the conditional ones can get a little bit stickier because you have to ask yourself, do I meet the conditions for this particular document? And you can't ask me. That would be the worst possible thing that you can do. But what you can do is you can go to the contract classes and attend the Ask the Broker sections, or attend the Back to Basics, or attend night school. There's a dozen different ways, or just pick up the phone and call Jason Westcott, and he will let you know the answer to your question. So each of these has some conditional statements. If you have any questions on those, reach out to the appropriate person and you can get to them. Now on the optionals, this is just a place to store files. So if you're looking to keep records clean and neat in one place, this is a way for you to do it. And if you run out of spaces in each of the sections that are here for things that you need, you can even add a custom folder. And that custom folder is only for documents that are not already given in placeholder. So you're not going to put the brokerage relationship form in a custom folder. There's a spot for it. The only reason you use this is when you don't have a spot for something that you want to keep with the transaction, or if compliance has said to you, strangely enough, we need document X to be uploaded. And you're like, yeah, but there isn't a slot for that. Fine. Create a custom folder, give it a name, and then put that document in the custom folder. And after you're done with that, you're going to click the Add Comment button, and you're going to bring up a dialog box, and you're going to say, hey, Jason Hool, I put that document in the custom folder as per your request. Let me know if it's what you need. That's how you're going to communicate and say, it's in there. I did it. I'm a good agent and I did it. So this little comment dialog box can save you a lot of time, because I'll be honest with you, the compliance department, this is where they look first, because they're pinged. They get little notifications on these things very quickly. So they'll be seeing this right away. Okay. I'll cancel that. Okay, so now we've gotten to the point where the documents are all taken care of. You can watch the DocuSign classes to watch all that process. Let's talk about the offers and commissions. I have a video that talks about offers and commissions in just excruciating detail. This is not going to be that because we only have a few minutes left. What's most important to understand is that you must create an offer to get to the commissions tab. The offer, though, in most cases has already been done. So you're not really building an offer. You're just kind of filling in the details. So you will click add offer, give it a name. It defaults to initial offer. You'll put the information in as per required. And again, I'm not going to go through every dialogue here. You will see that there are some fields that do require you to enter information, and you need to make sure that you put that information in here and get it all in there. So I'm just going to scoot through this, and we'll say that the cash terms on this one were $25,000. The finance amount was $400. I think I put this thing down to $450 or something like that. $425, that's fine. Earnest amounts. So let's say you can put in the number, or you can put in the percentage, and it will calculate either direction. You can put in option fees, and again, not going through any individual ones here because we do this in the class on this particular one. So we'll go with agent analysis. We don't need to do the pros and cons. We'll click save. 2 seconds to build an offer. And frankly, you're not most of the time going to use it anyway. So just kind of putting that information in there for record purposes, and you should be good to go. Now that it's taking its sweet time to go ahead and build that offer so that I can go to the commissions tab. Yes. Let's finish this out for me, please. And it's gone back. It didn't take it because I was too impatient. Don't be impatient. See, this is a perfect example of why I say, take your time. No, whatever, 400. There we go, 425. 5,000. Be patient. Take your time. There it is. Now we have an offer. Now, once that offer is in with us, we can accept that offer or reject that offer. Well, you have to accept the offer, whatever you've put in, to get to the commissions. So once you accept the offer, then you can get to this button, the golden ticket, manage commission. It's kind of like picking numbers for the lottery. You got a lot of work to do, and then you finally get to the manage commission dialog box. Now, in the manage commission dialog box, check it out. There's a couple of things. Number one is if you did not add a listing to a listing opportunity, this is going to light up red and say you need to add the listing. So you're going to have to do it eventually anyway. Number two, if you did not add a contract date or a closing date, it will ask you for that here. Now you can change that information if those were estimates from earlier. You can click the general information, modify the contract date, and modify the close date as needed. In the payment section, where you're going to get paid as the agent, by default, you, of course, are going to be added as the payee. And over here on the right-hand side, pay to agents, right now it's setting up to send me the whole amount, no splits, no deductions, nothing. Without getting into the weeds on this, because I don't want to kind of like diminish how important this screen is to get right, because this is where you get paid. I just want you to understand that there's a lot of information in here that is covered in the commissions training classes that we've done, and we will obviously do them again in the future. So watch those videos up on the YouTube channel, kwtechtube.com, and search for commission, and you'll be able to find the full details of how to get paid here. The most important thing to take away from this is that everything on my commissions page is dead right. Not being egotistical, but what I do know is that on the details tab, on the documents tab, everything in the contact information, all the stuff that I built to get here just requires me hitting the submit button. That's all I have to do, because I have confidence that the information that I've built up until this point is in good shape, and I know that I'm going to get paid. This is the goal, is to make it so that it's easy for you guys to get to this page and hit that submit button and know that nothing's going to bounce back. Final thoughts here on this. You're not going to get to this page, or you're not going to get paid off of this page unless everything in the documents area is completed and approved. That does not mean that you must wait for this to be fully approved before you submit for your commission. You can wait. You can wait till everything's approved and everything is all good and golden. Or you can just make sure that you have submitted this information, and up to the point where you're working on the commissions tab, you want to make sure that you're not dealing with any rejected documents or rejected notes or anything like that. Clean this up before you go to offers and commissions. And I guarantee you, Tristan at the Market Center, the assistant MCA, is going to lean over and he's going to yell out to Colin, "Hey, Colin, how's so-and-so doing on Jackie Astuto's listing? Is it good to go? I'm about ready to pay commissions here. I looked at the documents tab and it looks good. Anything outstanding I should know about? Nope, they're good to go." They can communicate and work together to get you paid, but only if the documents tab is in good order. And the documents tab is only going to be in good order if you manage it well by taking care of the details and running a good DocuSign or .loop to make sure that you have everything you need. Boom. Mic drop. That's it. That's all I got for you. I mean, there's 1,000 other things, but that's what we're going to cut off now. For additional information, you can always reach out to reach out to me, and I'm going to give you that information right here and right now. You can get a hold of me at command@kwclm.com. That's my email. Our YouTube channel has all of the mini videos that I've been talking about, the commissions, the details, all of that stuff, how to work with the opportunity dashboard, all those things. And that's at kwtechtube.com. Additionally, you can go where we're here right now in the KW Tech TV Zoom room, and that's where we're at. If you need to book time with me individually, don't book time on my calendar for emergencies. Don't do that, because I'm booking 3 weeks out. Book calendar time with me for when you want to kind of proactively look ahead and learn about something coming up that you're thinking about. If you have support questions, that's when you drop into the lab, which is the Tech Lab, the kwtechtv.com, and you can jump into that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. The Facebook training feed has all the feeds that this class is live on Facebook right now, so that's going to be available for you. And that's facebook.com/MCTT463. And of course, our learning portal, kwclmtraining.com, our pride and joy. We are working very hard to make sure that you have access to all the training there as well. So that's going to do it for me for now. Hope you guys got some good stuff out of this class. And we are going to be headed out now at 3 o'clock. We're going to come back and we're going to do something fun, something a little different. Angela, you might even want to check this out. This is going to be settings and setups and tips to make command work for you. So it's not going to be about a specific thing. We're going to jump all over the place and we're going to take a look at how we can set up command to make it really shine and make it hum. All right, that's it for now, you guys. Have a great one. We'll see you in about an hour. Take care.